First and foremost, digital transformation, I believe, never ends, because you start it and you start looking at changing your culture, changing the organizational capability, how you're organized, how you think, and also start to introduce those building blocks that will enable you to start transforming and to start iterating and to start really understanding how your customers are interacting with you. So digital transformation is constant and continuous.
We can start to show progress on an incremental basis from a very short time frame to try and keep up that spirit of continual improvement and continual delivery. The technologies are there now in the marketplace. The tech is there in the marketplace. It's about willingness to actually now get on board of all of these capabilities and start delivering some solutions.
I find it interesting to ask people what exactly are they doing and what will be different at the end of it, so what sort of journey you're going on. And operationally, how does it affect the business? So is this something that's done, you finish and you've finished digitally transforming, or is it something which is a continuous improvement of your entire business? So I think it affects more than technology, it affects the whole company.
So continuous improvement really resonates at Impellam. I think whilst you've got some businesses, some maybe startups or businesses who are fundamentally changing their business model through some crisis, that kind of one-shot digital transformation may be appropriate. But for us, we've got a business model that works. It's about people, and the continuous improvement, the innovation in lots of bite-sized chunks really works for us. But also, it's often a combination of smaller innovations coming together that starts to show perhaps the art of the possible, and that then engages you in a conversation with the business as to how you move forward.
I think also the other bit that I think through is the cultural change. So if you have that customer at the heart of what you're doing, taking employees through a journey of how we're going to help customers, whether that be using automation, it can just help them understand the direction we're going to satisfy customers, as opposed to like we're just doing digitalisation or whatever the term is and no one really understand it. So I think it can help break down some of those barriers and some of that fear to be able to be a catalyst of change.
The thought of a big, scary program that only delivers in 3 years' time, I think that hopefully those days are gone, because high risk, high cost, high complexity. So a continual improvement approach should enable you to break that down into lots of micro deliverables, each with its own success factor. And that's when the human brain really starts to see progress and benefits. More and more people come on board, and then you slowly start to pick up pace.
The opportunity presented by bringing new digital technologies into the group is the exciting part for me. Being able to take a process plant we might have put in place 10 years ago using a set of technologies that were available then, and being able to get into it, modernise it, being able to instrument it, being able to connect it with different ways of working, looking into other industries and see how we can run that better. That's the exciting part of IT strategy where I sit.
So, things that we'll be looking at is, cloud computing is a direction of travel JLT we're taking, and I can see that will be 50 to 60% of our capability in the next 1 to 2 years.
But cloud, you're keeping up with the latest technology, so you don't have to worry about patching, you don't have to worry about stability, you don't have to worry about developing it yourself, so you're getting somebody else's development dollars thrown in for it, but it's also faster to deploy.
We started our transformation and our enablement through the move to the cloud, first and foremost, which opened us up to the ability to scale, to transform, to test different ways and techniques.
What we tend to do is start small, so look at the pilots, try things, test them. To be honest, a lot fail, and then the trick is the ones that succeed, you then really get behind, and we would typically have literally a couple of bigger implementations focusing on expanding and rolling out digital technology or transformation.
The bit I'm much more interested in is actually succeed fast, because that's actually where the nuggets are. There's great learning in fail fast, but actually if all you do is study failure, you learn how things fail. If you study success, which has a completely different dynamic, you learn about success.
The way I look at it is that you need to be challenged by the business. There's no real value in me going to the business and say, I've got this great bit of technology, why don't you use it? What you need is the business coming to you saying they've got a business problem, and then you find the technology to deliver it.
It's important to try new things. It's important to recognise that to innovate well, you have to fail in some areas, and it's important to have a framework by which you work out how far you get down a path before you close one out or start a new one. And we're laser focused on building a plan for next year that we can see, that we can buy, that we can implement. And the year beyond that, we're in process of running innovation projects around the group to understand where that opportunity might be.
And we like to work on a 1, 3, 5-year plan. So our 1-year plan is a real immediate focus, the stuff that is important we've got to do now. 3 years, you're looking a little further ahead, and you've got lots of people vying for funding for their projects to get some traction. And then 5 years plan is really your long-term roadmap about where do you know you've got to get to, and that could be driven by the technology companies and changing the technology that's coming to the market, but it could be changing by your own strategy internally as to what products and services are you looking to adopt or change or bring to market in the future.
The pace at which the world changes has increased significantly, and therefore what perhaps 10, 15 years ago, a one-shot innovative process with a project you could spend 3, 4 years doing and would have a fundamental change. Now the time to market for those sorts of things is just so much shorter. The flip side of that is if you're trying to do lots of things and they tend to be much smaller, equally they tend to all carry lower risk, and you can go through that gestation period much quicker. So you're spending typically less money and less time to get to an outcome.